January is National Stalking Awareness Month. This year, it hits home for us here at WAAY 31. Thanks for watching. I'm Greg Privet. You can become a stalking victim without ever knowing someone's targeting you and without having any type of relationship with your stalker. WAAY 31 Scotty K talked with one survivor about why that woman didn't trust law enforcement to stop her stalker.
I go down the aisle and I look up there, he's in the store where he followed me over there.
Donna Heitch knows what it's like to be followed by a stranger.
He was in the window on the outside just staring at me. And I mean, I was just shaking and trembling.
And harassed constantly.
He was calling me, texting me. He would show up places at where I was at during the week. He would know where I was at all times. So it went on for about 6 months.
Donna believed she was no longer in charge of her life, so she threatened to get police involved.
I was begging him to leave me alone. It had been enough.
Luckily, that put an end to her stalker's advances, but 12 years later, she still lives with the terror.
You're always looking over your shoulders. You're like, searching the crowd to make sure you don't see his face. You're scared. You just never know what they're going to be doing next. You just never know what their mindset is. They just don't think, they're not a normal mindset.
It's something Deputy Stephen Young sees far too often.
Law enforcement a lot of times is very familiar with, the individual case and what's happened step by step. Unfortunately, the court system sometimes just gets a snapshot. It makes it really difficult sometimes to capture the depth of seriousness of the case. People don't really get to see the whole story.
And laws to protect victims aren't very strong. You can get a restraining order, but that's just a piece of paper. It doesn't protect you from anyone.
When it comes to the laws, there have to be criteria met, and those criteria have to be objective. So in a lot of ways, sometimes it doesn't reflect the scale of seriousness, the toll that it takes.
Which is exactly what kept Donna from pursuing justice.
There's nothing ever done about any of this kind of stuff, so it's like try to take care of it yourself, and to me, it's not taken serious enough.
It's why Donna is pushing for changes in the law.
Predators and stalkers need to have more punishment. I think what I've seen in the last few years, they just kind of slap them on the hand and move on, and someone could get killed, hurt, raped. There could be, come up missing. There could be a number of things that would happen.
Scotty K is with us now. Scotty, this issue of stalking hits too close to home for you. Tell us a little bit about what it's like living with this.
That's right, Greg. I met a man last year while I was covering an event, and unfortunately he found me on social media. He followed me on all forms of social media and began posting inappropriate comments on pictures. I immediately blocked him, but that didn't stop him. In fact, he actually showed up here at the station with gifts for me, wanting to come in and see me. Luckily, no one here let him inside. Shortly after that, he showed up at a restaurant where my family and I were having dinner, and luckily he was arrested after that.
Now, he was arrested. Did that arrest end everything for you?
Not exactly. It was a brief moment of relief, but he was only locked up for a couple of weeks. So as soon as he got back out, I was right back to worrying and waiting for him to do something else.
All right. And you were in court recently. What was it like seeing him in court?
It was really hard being in the same room, if we're being honest. I really wish that the judge had given him a stiffer punishment for all that he had put me and my family through. I really hope that he learned his lesson and doesn't do this to anyone else, because unfortunately I wasn't his first victim. He's been convicted of stalking before, but I sure do hope that I was his last victim.
All right. Well, you've been a good example of how to fight back, and I know you're in a lot of people's prayers. Thank you, Scotty. Well, stalking is much more common than you may realize. Here's a look at some of the statistics. According to a study from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 15% of women and 6% of men experience stalking in their lifetime. More than 50% of victims say their perpetrator showed up or approached them in public places. About 1 in 4 victims report some form of cyber stalking, and more than 60% of victims worried their stalker would hurt them or a loved one. If you believe you are a stalking victim, you're encouraged to reach out to law enforcement.